ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यात् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः So we have, where are we? We are looking at the business with the salt, the pratyakshiikaranam of the salt example, the salt, the Himalayan salt artifact was flung into a big vat of water. And then what happened to it? It was gone. Poor Shvetu and looked for it here and there, everywhere, combed the entire water. And that's how we have that's how that's how he came up short. He couldn't find out where it was. That was the original meaning of the term beach combing. There was no beach, there was just salty water, and he combed through it. No salt, only salty water. And that salty water, that too, he was able to taste it. So the idea is not a lesson in chemistry. Okay, this is not a chemistry lesson that the salt is in a melted form. I mean, a 24-year-old should know this, as I said. This is not some kind of a chemistry lesson. What happened to the sodium? What are the properties of sodium chloride? That is not the point of this. Because if we take it like this, that means that we are missing the whole point. That is why it was told to us right in the beginning, Shraddhatsva. Have Shraddha, because this is an example that you have to go beneath what it is, uh, what the surface level illustration is all about. You have to go beneath that. It's not at the level of what happens to the salt when it meets the water. Everybody knows. That's not the point. So what is the point? Last time I had said that there are actually 2 points. What are they? These sudden quizzes, when will they stop? When will these sudden quizzes stop? Hmm? What were the two things that we had talked about? What were the 2 points of this particular illustration? As we are getting ready to sum it up, we need to bring that back.
That there is a different means of understanding.
Yeah, I lost you there. There is a different,
Means
of, continue,
learning,
please.
understanding something.
Understanding what?
It's different means of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take it at the level of the drishtanta. So two things we have to see. First is the salt is there.
But yes,
It
and
has
it's
just
not
changed
objectifiable.
form.
It is not objectified.
It is first is that salt vidyamanam eva. The salt is very much present. Vidyamanam eva. This salt is existent. That is the first. Let's just look at the drishtanta. See, that is when we jump to the Darshtanta, that which is the point of the illustration too quickly, then we may lose these, nuances. So first is what happened, Shvetaketu looked for that salt crystal, wasn't there, but then he was told to taste it in the beginning, taste it in the middle, taste it at the end. It was there. Lavanam vidyamanam eva. The salt is very much present. Point number one.
Taste.
And then what was the other point you said, Vasanti? It can be understood through another upaya. Upayantarena labhyate. So anyat, anyaha upaya. So here another upaya is needed. So upayantaram meaning another upaya. Another means is there of cognizing the salt. How was the salt cognized at first? Through the sense of touch and sight. So you could feel the ragged edges of the salty artifact and a little niche to keep your tea light. Mrs. Uddalaka's tea light. Okay, yeah, and so you could feel that, and then what else could you feel? You could feel that you could feel certain things powdering off in your hand. This is all very tactile, textural. This salt, big salt, lump was, and then what else? How else? You could see it from the distance. It could be mistaken for a rose quartz. Wow! That would be an interesting adhyasa. You run towards it, and it's just a few pennies in those days, especially. A few cowries, whatever was the thing. What is that? Exchange thing, currency at that time. So therefore, this it looks like a rose quartz with all the certain occlusions and that certain translucent, quality to it, and that lovely pink. But then, it is, and it was also available for the third upaya. But that for the third, what is that? The third way of knowing, which was that earlier, huh? Sight, touch. What else?
Taste.
Yeah,
Taste.
thank God. Hello, wake up. Okay. Yeah. And then, so taste. But this way of knowing is not discussed. Why is it not discussed? Oh, because the Shruti wants to spring this on us. No, 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 no. It's just not done in polite company. You don't just go, you just go, don't lick a big, lump of salt. You're not a horse, okay? Yeah, horses and deer, I'm told they like, these salt crystals and all you can keep. We had an ashram in Georgia, and then there were some hunters around, and then I called somebody, and somebody who was an expert in animals, and then I said, how to attract the deer to this land where they can be safe, so that they are away from the hunters. So they said big salt blocks you can get at the hardware shop and the animal feed shop. In rural areas, this is what is possible. And then you bring it and put it near the perimeter, so all the deer will come there and they will not get hunted down. And so for the deer to lick and the horses to lick this, it is okay. But when there are other more polite ways and more direct ways of objectifying the salt, you don't go and lick the salt. That is why it is not mentioned. It's not that the Upanishad was keeping it close to the heart, to the chest, like cards in a poker game. No, no such thing. Okay. So here, very wonderful. I mean, it's just so wonderful. So then, the first point is that the salt is very much there. It has just changed the form. Number one. And what is number two? Upayantarena, labhyate. It is available through another means. Now that these two direct, whatever, the more easily available means are no longer there. It is available through one more means, a different means. And what is that? Taste. Madhyadachama, antyadachama. Please sip this here, sip this there, sip this. And then what do you find? Lavanam kathamiti, lavanamiti, kathamiti, lavanamiti, kathamiti, lavanamiti. Salt, 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 salt. Salty. Okay. And then, so then afterwards, Shvetaketu, must have started to look like this after all the salt tasting, all the dehydration. So he's told to go drink some water, clean off his mouth, and come and sit down for the class. And then now that is understood, now we will see how and why you know, these 2 points are very, very important here to what is going to come now. Okay. Yeah. So then, where were we exactly? Yeah, Ratro. Yeah. Uh, Yatha idam lavanam darshana sparshanabhyam purvam grihitam. Just as this salt, darshana sparshanabhyam, through the means of knowledge called sight and the sense of touch, purvam, prior to its dissolving, grihitam. Grihitam means it was available, it was grasped through the eyes, it was grasped through the sense of touch. पुनः उदके विलीनं ताभ्याम् agrihyamaणम् अपि. So now punah, then again, after having been immersed in the water and having dissolved in the water, tabhyam, kabhyam, this darshana sparshanabhyam. Now tabhyam means those two, not any longer available for darshana sparshanabhyam, for the touch and for the taste. Then what happens? Then uh, 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 you know samvartate eva, samvartate eva, it is there, it is very much there. Tabhyam vidyate eva, vidya, somewhere else he says samvartate, earlier he says samyak vartate eva. So vidyate eva, same thing, it is very much there. Point number 1, it is there. How do we know? Upayantarena upalabhyamanatvat, because of its being available through another method. And what is that method? Jihvaya. The jihva is the tongue is the instrument for this, for the discerning the salt, the presence of the salt in the water. एवमेव अत्र एव अस्मिन् एव तेजोबन्नादिकार्ये शृङ्गे देहे वाव किल इति आचार्य उपदेशस्मरणप्रदर्शनार्थौ. So evameva means in the same manner. In which manner? In the manner in which earlier we had the sentence yatha. So yatha, how, exactly how, in what manner the salt that was immersed in the water was no longer available for the previous means of knowledge in the form of touch and sight, sight and touch. But it was very much there, and it was available then to be cognized through the tongue, through the sense of taste. Evameva, in the same manner, atra eva. Atra eva means, atra means kutra, right here. Right here. Here means what? With reference to the physical body. Atra eva. With reference to the physical body that is very much objectifiable. Asminneva, and then this is we should know this even if we don't know our own names. After studying Chandogya, we should know Tejo Bannadikarye, Tejo Bannam, Tejaha Up Annam. We should know this expression. Okay. What is another expression we should know to prove that we have studied Chandogya 6th chapter? What else?
Trivit Karanam.
Trivrit Karanam. Very good. That is in the same in that same ballpark. What else is there? something we always say these days, especially after every class or in every class. Once at least it will come.
Yah esho anima.
Saya esho anima aitadatmyagam sarvam. And even if you don't remember all this, don't worry. Just go with bhuya eva bhagavan ma vijñapayatu tatha somya iti hovacha. And then people will get very impressed. OMG, you just started Sanskrit just a few weeks ago and you are saying all these things. Yeah, that is how it is. So these are the certain things one will never be able to forget. It's just amazing. Okay. So asmin eva, asmin means where in this body, which is what asmin eva means asmin eva dehe. What kind of dehe? Shunge. What is shunga?
The seed.
Quizzes.
The seed.
Shunga means karya, effect, that which is in the form of an effect. So asmin eva, shunga is sprout, which here is upalakshana for this, for karya. So the word for karya is used here as shunga. So asmin eva, and you know what? The answer was hidden right here. Tejo bannadi karye shunge. All it required was a close reading. Wasn't even a trick quiz. Okay. Yeah. The answer was given inside itself. Amazing. I like such quizzes. So, Karya. So, this Asmin eva dehe, atraiva, in this body itself. What kind of a body? Let us never forget what this body is. What is this body? This body is Shunga. Shunga means effect. Let us not think of the body in any other way except as the effect. And then what the effect of what? Tejaha, up, anna, adi. Adi padat, you have to bring in space and akasha and vayu also. Space and what is the other one? Wind elements. So tejaha, up, annam. So fire, water, and earth. So this, which is, as we were told, each of these elements have undergone first they have undergone a grossification, and after being grossified, they have undergone a devatafication. They are now devatas, and then so they have been deified, devatafied, and then then this body, which is born of these devatas, is what is called Shunga here. In the original mantra that we have just studied, or we are studying, I'm not sure, but in this mantra, Vava and Kila, these two nipatas are there. These indeclinable particles are there, So, uh, Bhashyakara, in his wonderful way, does not have, does not leave even small little particles by the wayside. He explains them. So why does the Shruti put Vava and Kila? So he says these indeclinables are in order to underscore something. Underscore what? In order to show something. What is that? Acharya Upadesha Smarana Pradarshanarthau. So they are there, so the expressions such as Vava and Killer. What do they mean? They mean indeed. And then Killer, Vava means as it happened. And then indeed. This is what they mean. So they are, to recall, so Smarana, to recall Acharya Upadesha, the Acharya's teaching on the subject of the physical body being the product of these three elements. This is why Vava and Kila are there. So Vava and Kila, in other words, are the Upanishadic words for quizzes. Do you recall? Do you understand? You know what the Acharya? Who is the Acharya here? Uddalaka. Uddalaka as the Acharya, what did he say? This is to recall that. You see, I'm not the only one giving quizzes. I too learnt it from the Shruti itself. Okay. Yeah. So um, then Acharya Upadesha Smarana Pradarsanarthau. Okay, then Sat Tejo Bannadi Shunga Karanam. So, okay, now we have this Deha as the Karya, and then what is the Karana? Because we have spent so many months, so many weeks, and so many months looking at the fact that the effect is non-separate from the cause. Correct? Yeah. So if the effect is non-separate from the cause, then what is the cause? What is the cause? Hello.
Cause is as though only.
Cause, yeah, cause is as though, but what is the as though cause?
Sat
And
is as
Sat.
yeah. But what is the
Sat.
as though cause?
Sat,
Sat.
Sat.
Sat. It's here again, it's right there. Sat tejo bannadi shunga karanam. Sat is the cause. Sat is the cause of this shunga, which is the tejaha up, anna, etc. How? Vata bija animavat. Like the bija, like the seed of this Nyagrodha tree under which they were possibly sitting. Who? The father and the son here. So, Vatabija anima, anima means the subtle, the subtle part of the seed where the 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 tree is no longer there. No part of the tree is there in the seed. When the seed, the tiny seed of the Vatavriksha, which Shvetaketu opened with great difficulty, he could not see anything. This is called Bija Anima. And then, when you try to type it out, Anima, then the autocorrect will try to change it into Anim. Okay, yeah. So this is what it will try to do. So this is the cause. So this Anima is the cause of this huge banyan tree. Why? Because like the Sukshma seed, which is the cause of this huge tree, Sat is, as you pointed out, the as though software which is there, like the banyan tree, but not available for sense perception. Therefore, what Shvetaketu was told, na nibhalayase, you will not be able to see it. You don't understand it at all. So this is na upalabhase, na nibhalayase. Indriyaihi. Through the sense organs, you cannot objectify it. But vidyamanameva, like the salt, it is vidyamanameva, it is very much there. So, yatha, just as atraiva udake darshanasparshanabhyam anupalabhyamanam lavanam vidyamanameva jihvaya upalabdhavanasi. Look here, what have you done? That same salt, which was unavailable for objectification by the two senses, touch and sight, you have objectified through the sense of taste. You have gained it. एवमेव अत्रैव किल विद्यमानं सत् जगन्मूलम् उपायान्तरेण लवण अणिमवत् उपलप्स्यसे इति वाक्यशेषः. I think that when Adi Shankara was small, he excelled in his school in the fill in the blanks. So, whenever the Upanishad leaves things unsaid, he dutifully and very beautifully fills in all the blanks. And he says, I have filled in the blanks. And because the Upanishad leaves it at a very, at a very amorphous note, on a very amorphous note. What is that amorphous note? Well, You have tasted this salt, even though it was not available for objectification through how it was the night before. Then we are sitting here thinking, so what? What's the point? And then Bhashyakara fills out, this fleshes out the whole meaning. So, in the same manner, evameva, atraiva kila, indeed here also, vidyamanam sat, that sat which is never not there, which is always there, which is what jagataha moolam, jagan moolam, that which is the truth of the entire universe, the source of the whole universe. What happens to it? Upayantarena, through another means, lavana animavat upalapsyase. You can gain it through another means. And here we can bring in the Darshtanta, means of knowledge, etc. Upalapsyase. You will gain it through another means of knowledge. Iti Vakya Shesha, like even the subtle way in which you objectified the salt through another upaya. And then, of course, we go through the chorus. What is the chorus? Saya esho anima aitadatmyagam idam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi shvetaketo iti. And then what does he say? Bhuya eva ma bhagavan vigyapayatu iti. Tatha somya iti hovacha. Another cliffhanger. Thankfully, in the middle of the class, not at the end. Okay. So now we can repeat. Saya ityadi samanam. No repeaters today?
Yeah, no. Saya ityadi samanam.
Yadi evam
Yadi evam
lavana animavat
lavana animavat
indriyaihi
indriyaihi
anupalabhyamanamapi
anupalabhyamanamapi
jaganmoolam sat
jaganmoolam sat
upayantarena
upayantarena
उपलब्धुं शक्यते
उपलब्धुं शक्यते
यत् उपलम्भात्
यत् उपलम्भात्
कृतार्थः स्याम्
कृतार्थः स्याम्
अनुपलम्भाच्च
अनुपलम्भाच्च
अकृतार्थः स्याम् अहम्
अकृतार्थः स्याम् अहम्
तस्यैव
तस्यैव
उपलब्धौ
उपलब्धौ
कः उपायः
कः उपायः
इत्येतत्
इत्येतत्
भूय एव मा भगवान् विज्ञापयतु
भूय एव मा भगवान् विज्ञापयतु
दृष्टान्तेन
दृष्टान्तेन
तथा सौम्य इति होवाच.
तथा सौम्य इति होवाच.
Yeah. So, this is a nice, very wonderful segue. And so, the salt is available through a different perception. Lavana animavat, he was told, because it is available for a means of knowledge. So, the very beautiful segue here. And what is that segue? The segue is that the the salt that is available for a sense of taste. The salt is very easy to see that it is available for sense of taste. But what about Sat? How come the Sat, how are we going to understand Sat? You can't taste Sat. So what is that equivalency here? What is the equivalence here? So if there is a different means of knowledge for the salt, which is the sense of taste, well and good. But what is the means of knowledge for this Sat? This is Shvetaketu's question. And then even very beautiful question. He makes a very nice segue here. Let us look at this and then we'll go to Sir Esho Anima. So Yadi, एवं लवण अणिमवत् इन्द्रियैः या जगन्मूलं सत् उपायान्तरेण उपलब्धुं शक्यते. Then he says, okay, this Sat, once I understand it through the aforementioned but yet Buddha, yet hidden means of knowledge, gaining which yad upalambhat kritartah syam. This is he's putting words in Shvetaketu's mouth, Bhashyakara, as he always does, and uses it as a beautiful segue. Kritartha syam. Kritartha means the one who, the one for whom all the artha short for purushartha, for whom all the artha has been gained. The artha for whom has been completely gained. Very beautiful segue. Okay, so then the so from by whom all the whatever needs to be gained has been gained. Who can gain everything that is needing to be gained? Think about all the list of demands that one has. Think about all the desires. So much so that if you stand at the doorway of a temple and join your hands in prayer, all the desires come out at once. Oh, I want this, I want that, I want this one to be well, I want that one to be well, take care of this one, take care of that one, and do this, do that, and I want moksha. Yes, but I also want money. And can I have both at the same time? Yugapat. And this is how, I want comfort and moksha all at once. And so this is, this is all the prayers roll off, not, they don't even come via the tongue, they roll off the mind. And so the word kritartha is a tall order. How can anybody say that I have accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish? That is possible if there was only one thing to accomplish, correct? Yeah. This is the beauty of the Shruti. And, so then what is there to accomplish? That by which all these things I have to accomplish, that pressure is eliminated. That's the only thing to accomplish, which is what is called moksha. Freedom from, not necessarily freedom from wanting, even though it is fine to translate it that way. Freedom to be identified as a wanting person. So I want that identity of being the wanter. That is what is called into question. And freedom from that, Abba, such a relief. OMG. And what is it like? It is like a bald man going in the shampoo and conditioner aisle of a grocery store. So freedom. he looks he looks at all the flavors, and then in America the shampoos come with fruits and fruits in them, and then flowers in them. Flowers, at least I can conceptually understand, because okay, some fragrance, something you can think, okay, and then it smells good, and maybe that's why. But fruits is, I have not been able to understand. And here are people in the rest of the world, they are still looking for some fruits to eat. And then here is a shampoo bottle filled with all kinds of extracts of fruits, and even worse, dry nuts, dry fruits and nuts and everything, all these things, almond shampoo and cashew shampoo, and then this shampoo and this one kiwi shampoo. This all I have seen. Okay, so kiwi shampoo, this almond shampoo, all these things. Oatmeal shampoo, yeah, grains. Grains are also, all the food groups are there for the hair. Okay, this itself should be hair raising issue. But still, this is how it is. And so, if somebody with some kind of hair, who is having hair, and the one with hair goes into the shampoo aisle, they will become a basket case, because they have to choose. Do I want kiwi or do I want some mango or do I want some, something else, and then do I want some, should I settle for some flowers or should I go for almond and oatmeal like this? So then the wanting person, let's say in this example of the shampoo I is evoked. Well, this one detangles the hair, but then this one is so costly. It entangles the pocketbook while detangling the hair. And then the other one, what does it do? And then it nourishes the hair. But not what's inside the skull. So okay, don't want. And then so you keep looking at various priorities. But imagine somebody who had no hair at all. This bald fellow is walking in the shampoo and conditioner and hair oil, hair aisle, hair color, hair oil, hair this, hair that. And then he will also look, oh, kiwi, how strange, how interesting. That's it. There is nothing to upkeep. There is no pull in any which way. There is no pull. Look at the relief. Oh, thank God I don't have to think about all this. I don't have to think about S for shampoo. Actually, it has come from a Hindi word, champi, which means head massage. That is the origin of the word shampoo. And I think people in India fought for this copyright to be listed as the origin for Hindi word. Now it is listed. Okay, yeah. So this is so this is how it is. And so imagine, visualize a bald person walking through the shampoo aisle, and that is, you know, krita kritya, accomplish, accomplish whatever is there in this home, these two, three aisles, let us say. One has hair oils, one has shampoos, one has conditioners, one has whatever else, for the upkeep. And then, these three, you can just take a walk and not want anything. Why? Because there is nothing to upkeep. That for which the want was there is no longer there. Similarly, that for which wants such as money, security, bank account, and people around oneself, accomplishments, that means what? That insecurity for which all these wants were kept on being hoarded is no longer there. Knowing oneself as Sat, because all that is there is Sat. You see, it knocks off what is called the pramata, pramatru. The knower is knocked off. That is why this knowledge is so sacred, so holy, so complete, so full, so amazing. Because in all other bodies of knowledge, in branches of knowledge, the knower is intact. That's what you say, I know, I know this, I have this, I know this. And then you can say, what do you know? And like, what's his name? Narada, in the seventh chapter of the Chandogya, he, he says, I know this, and then I know this, and I know that, and I know Rig Veda, I know Yajur Veda. Oh, you're a Dvivedi. No, no, no. I know Sama Veda. Oh, Trivedi. No, no, no. I know Yajur Veda also. Chaturvedi, yes, but I know Shiksha, this, that, I know pronunciation, I know astrology, I know astronomy, I know this, I know that, I know. And then, the teacher, Sanat Kumara says, you know everything, but one thing you don't know. And that one thing, because which you don't know, is this is why you are sad. That one thing if you don't know and everything else you know, the only thing that is Sat, which is there, which is which which transcends the subject object divide. That's why it's called anima. Saya eshaha anima, eshaha sat anima, meaning it is subtle. How does it transcend the subject object divide? It transcends the subject object divide because it usually, there is sorrow in when you encounter even an object of fulfillment, there is sorrow. Why is there sorrow when it's potentially an object of fulfillment? For the fear that you will run out. Like the story I tell you each time, because, of that young child who was crying into her ice cream. This is the true story. I said, what happened? You don't like the flavor? She's in between her sobs and heaves. She says, I love this flavor. What happened? It's half gone. And very soon it will be fully gone. Being a clever child, she was already anticipating that it would be gone. And so, therefore, this is how it is, because as long as the subject and the object have to come together in order to recall a certain happiness, which is otherwise not understood. So we get into this addiction of trying to manufacture the happiness, but we are actually not manufacturing it. It is a kind of a contact high, because it's the pleased person who is already pleased that is pleased upon encountering an object of desire. That's why if somebody is in a bad mood and you give them something they love, they will push it out of the way because they cannot even appreciate it. That is how it is. So it's not easy for the subject and object to come together. The Panchadashikara in chapter 15 says so as much. So many factors have to align. They have to align together. Like what? First, the desire should be there and it should be up front and center. Second, the object and the subject must be there with the possibility of the union between the two. Number two. Number three, the mood of the subject must be receptive. And then the body of the subject must be receptive. Just because you like chocolate cake, you can't eat 10 pieces, you know, unless you're in some kind of a cake eating competition. That's different. But then you'll get sick of it. After the second or the third piece, you will say, enough. Why? Because there is a sense of surfeit. And so all this is there. And so therefore, it's not easy to fulfill a desire. And that's why it is fleeting. So here, the sat is what, that, when you say that consciousness is sat, consciousness simply is. And that same consciousness is the one who is looking at all the objects, is also that consciousness. So that consciousness now has a new name. What is that new name? That is the cognizer. And that consciousness looks at something which is also consciousness. But here, the one that is the object of sight is called cognized. Same consciousness, as though, we have to put in as though here in capital letters, as though morphed into cognizer, cognized as though. And then what is the connection between the cognizer and the cognized? There should be some means of knowledge. So pramana, the means of knowledge, hooks up the pramatra, the knower, pramata, along with the prameya, that which is to be known. So pramata, prameya, pramana, jnata, jnaya, jnana. Same thing. Drik, drishya, darshana. You can put it in any way. It's always the three. So this tripod upon which we lead our lives in a divided way. And that is what is what is talked about in the Chandogya and other Upanishads as that which is lacking any division, because that same consciousness at the simultaneously morphs, as it were, into the pramata, into the prameya, into the pramana, without being any one of them. Without being any one of them. It can be pramata because it is not ultimately pramata. It is consciousness with a crown called pramata. It can morph as the prameya because it is free of if it is free of being prameya, if it is free of pramatritvam, it is free of having the status of pramana. How? Why? Because it can be everything, because it is not any one thing. It is not any one thing. It can lend its presence to everything. It can bless everything without being any one thing. And so, therefore, this is something which is so beautiful. Therefore, it is etadatma, idam sarvam aitadatmyam. Everything is this Atma alone. Knower is Atma, known is Atma, that which is to be known is Atma, that which was known yesterday is Atma, the means of knowledge is Atma. Another knower is not there, that is also, if another knower were there, that would also be Atma, but there is no other knower. That which is that which is self-evident, that's the idea. It is self-evident I. And so therefore this is the this is basically what it is, so beautiful, very so everything. So this is consciousness, this sat is Brahman, and every other form, including the body mind sense complex, is a value addition. It's mithya all the way. And so tat satyam saha atma. So tat satyam sa atma. First it was what? Sat was neuter. Ekameva sat advitiyam. And then imaha tisro devata, sat devata. Then it became feminine. Now the masculine gender is used because now the oneness is being unfolded between the jiva and Ishvara. And so the masculine gender is used because the word Atma happens to be masculine, Pullinga. Therefore, Saha Atma. But really, it should be, grammatically, if you look at it, it should be Tat Satyam Tad Atma. But the, Pradhanyena, because of the Videya, the context, it is converted into Saha Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. That Tat Satyam happens to Atma, happens to be the Atma, and it is none other than Atma. And then this Atma, if you understand as Tad Atma, then you'll think there is some other Atma as a third person. No, it is Saha Atma, it is you, not far away from you, it is you alone. And then this is basically what is to be understood. What could be the upayantaram? What is the other method? How to understand this? How to understand myself as being free of the status of object and subject and knower and known and everything? How to understand that? It is not so easy as shaking a jar of salt and then mixing it up. And so that the whole jar of water is uniformly salty. And then Bhagavan Bhashyakara talks about this very beautifully. He says, Yena, Kritharthaha Syam, by which I will become Kritarthaha, means I will gain that, knowing which everything is as well known, gaining which everything is as well accomplished. This is Kritakritya and Kritarthatvam, because the Jiva's journey has reached its quote unquote destination. And then this is what it is. And so this is yasya. And then the typical Upanishad style Bhashyakara also adopts, and he says, what does he say? Yasya anupalambat akritarthah syamaham, not understanding which I will remain always unfulfilled and continue to be a seeker. It's not nice to be an infinite seeker. Very boring, terrible. Better to be the seeker of the infinite than the quest is finite. You want the quest to be finite, okay? And so he says, please make me understand. Don't keep me on this cliffhanger. Make me understand what is this upaya. What is this upaya? Please teach me. And let me find out what this upaya is, because it's not so easy as tasting the salty water, I'm sure. And then what is this upaya? Please tell me. And then, therefore, Saya Esho Anima Bhuya Eva Bhagavan Vijnapayatu Ityadi. And then we enter into the 14th khanda, 14th subsection of this 6th chapter. Yatha Somya
यथा सौम्य
Purusham
पुरुषं
Gandharebhyah
गन्धारेभ्यः
Abhinadhaksham
अभिनद्धाक्षम्
Aniyatam
आनीयतम्
Tato Atijane
ततो अतिजने
Visrujet
विसृजेत्
Sa Yatha Tatra
स यथा तत्र
Prangva
प्राङ्
Udangva
इदं वा
Adharang va
अधरां वा
Pratyang va
प्रत्यं वा
Pradmayita
प्रद्मायीत
Abhinadhakshah
अभिनद्धाक्षः
Anitah
आनीतः
Abhinadhakshah
अभिनद्धाक्षः
Visrishtah.
विसृष्टः.
Yeah. So this is the example that I was, that I said is just such a joy, and I said we can anticipate last time, and so here we are at this wonderful example. So yatha. So in the very interesting, example, and it is a timeless example. What is the timeless example? The abduction of a successful businessman. Okay, that is the timeless example. There were adharmic people then, there are adharmic people now. And so here was this fellow, a successful businessman. Now, I mean, we can modernize the example and try to understand it. So here he was, with his Rolex, and then suited, booted, and, tied up in his own notions of all kinds of ideas about himself, carrying what he thought was a very discreet, quote unquote, briefcase, and full of all the earnings of the day. Maybe he was a jeweler. And where did he belong to? Gandhara Desha. So he was an Afghani national, the present day Kandahar. That is what is Gandhara Desha. Okay, so, and same place where Gandhari came. And very interesting, you see, the Gandhari is cited as a great, who was Gandhari? Gandhari was the wife of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra. She is cited as a great Pativrata, somebody who's so devoted and loyal to her husband, that when she found out, when her marriage was arranged, and she found out the husband cannot see at all, and what did she say? What should she have said? Don't worry, I will be your eyes and ears. No. What did she say? Oh, if you cannot see, I will also not see. And on the day of the marriage, she, had her, what's that, bridesmaids. Yeah, tie up her eyes, and she lived like that the whole life. Okay, so very interesting. Here also Abhinadhaksha. So here also what happened, this unwitting fellow from Gandhara Pradesha, the successful businessman, was very successful but could not succeed in protecting his wealth. So what happened, he was hit upon by robbers, taskaraihi. And who are these robbers? Dravya hartar hai. Adi Shankara is going to say, meaning the ones who are able to give you instant vairagya. How? By just simply taking away all your possessions. That is, these are the people. So he was, he haplessly fell into their clutches. And then what did they do? They took his Rolex, they took his very, very expensive latest model of Apple iPhone, okay, which is which they use to call his wife and say, we have your husband here, okay, and then if you want him back in one piece, send all the money and all the everything, whatever you have. So they use that phone. First they stole it, then they use that same phone to threaten, because the wife's number would be there. They didn't have to search for it and Google it, nothing. It was right there. Last number called, and he got it. And then so they searched for it. They searched for the number and then called and put a threat. And then what? Having, issued the ransom announcement, and then they did not want to be followed because they had already stolen his briefcase, they had already stolen some things, they just wanted more money, so they said, come to this unnamed location. And then what did they do? They tied his hands, they tied his feet, they tied his eyes. And then what? They left him there, hungry, thirsty, and then made off with all his loot. Then what did he do? He was completely Big Brahma. He was completely disoriented. He did not know, is this east, Prangva, Pratyangva, is this east, is this north, is this west, is this south, where am I? He did not know. And so, for good measure, he turned into each direction, however, his bound hands would allow him. He rolled on to that direction and he would say, oh, I have been robbed, dacoits have come, bachao, help me, somebody, do something. And then I have been robbed. I am here bound. My eyes are bound. I cannot see. Help. And then what happened? Then, before reading this bhashya, let us go to the next mantra. Tasya
तस्य
yatha abhinahanam
यथा अभिनहनं
pramuchya
प्रमुच्य
prabruyat
प्रब्रूयात्
etam disham gandharaha
एतां दिशं गन्धाराः
etam disham vraja iti
एतां दिशं व्रज इति
sagramat gramam
स ग्रामात् ग्रामं
pritchan
पृच्छन्
panditah
पण्डितः
medhavi
मेधावी
gandharani gandhara
गन्धार गन्धार
gandhara aneva
गन्धारान्येव उपसम्पत्ति
gandharaneva upasampadhyeta
गन्धारान् एव उपसम्पद्येत
गन्धारानेव उपसम्पद्येत एवमे एवमे एवम्
एवम्
एव
एव
इह आचार्यवान्
इह आचार्यवान्
पुरुषो वेद
तस्य
तावदेव चिरम्
यावन्न विमोक्ष्ये अथ
तत्सम्पत्स्ये इति.
संपत्स्ये इति.
Yeah, so yeah, Sat is not there. Yeah. Okay, so sampatsye iti. Okay, now tasya. So then what happens? So he's left crying in every direction. I don't know where I am. Help! I have been robbed. Help! I'm bound up and tied up. Please help. And then what happens? Somebody suddenly comes and then gives him some water to drink, and then unties his eyes, unties his hand, gives, makes a cold compress and wipes down his eyes and face. And then with that same cool cloth, just fans him, let us say. And then what does he say? Prabruyat, maybe the having freed him, says, Etam disham gandharaha. That is the place, that is the general direction where your country lies, where your town lies, where your native place lies. That is the place. But then, just because he pointed somewhere, that doesn't mean it said this fellow is miles away. Because what did they do? They tied him up. They set upon him, relieved him of all his belongings, took him to a place, took him to a Vijana Pradesha, a place where it is not very populated, like a outskirts of a, what is it called, like a forest or something like that. And then they left him there to live or to die. And then what happened? This Samaritan, this good Samaritan came and then said, what you want, your Gandhara is right there. Go in this general direction. And so what happened? He kind of knew. He was a very, he was a scholar. He was a Pandit and he was a Medhavi, very intelligent. And then, having been generally turned around in the right way, then what did he do? Gramat Gramam Prichan, asking from village to village. Then Gandharan eva upasampadhyeta. He reached his township. He reached his place. He gained his place. Then, similarly, what is the point of the story? If you have a teacher, then Acharyavan Purushaha Veda. That is why we had such a big, such a big sentence on Shraddha, such a big section on Shraddha. That is why we were anticipating this moral of the story. The moral of the story is, if you have a teacher, you are as good as a Mukta Purusha, you are as good as free. How can you say that? Just because I have a teacher, that doesn't mean, I may not attend any classes. How can you say that I will be free? Well, because the Shruti has that much confidence in the teacher. Maybe not in the student, but in the teacher. So, if a teacher has accepted you as a disciple, you will definitely be free. And same thing in the what is that? In the Mundakopanishad, it is expressed in a slightly different way. Natasya kule abrahmavit vartate. Natasya kule abrahmavit bhavati. In his or her family, in the family of the person who knows Brahman, there is there is nobody that is ignorant of Brahman. Why? Because even the milkmaid who comes, and then what, she will be just making sure that she is milking the cow in front of the doorstep. And then she'll be making sure that she's using a false bottom measure. So that only she'll think it's this much. Everybody from outside will think it's this much milk, but inside it is that much milk. And that when the milk is tipped over, the jar is, set to that false bottom is set to slide to this one side, revealing water in the rest of the pot. And so the milk along with water comes out, and so she's busy trying to not be found out. And then, and then what she's hearing, because who is the Brahmavid? The Brahmavid is only reveling in and dwelling upon Brahman, Brahman, Brahman all the time. So then Trivrit, 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 the person is saying, so Esho Anima Aitadatmyagam Idam Sarvam. And then, you know, then what? That Sa Atma Tvamasi, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. This is what she's hearing. Another time she comes, Aham Brahmasmi, she's hearing. And then what? Ayam Atma, Brahma, all these Mahavakyas she's hearing in that half an hour that it takes to do this. And then she says, oh, this is very intriguing. And then so thinking like this, she forgets to mix the water with the milk and she becomes a honest milkmaid. See, I'm going the karma yoga route, okay? So she becomes a dharmic milkmaid, and then she gets more and more intrigued, and then she lingers a little bit. She lingers a little bit, and then her visits to the ashram become longer and longer. And then one day comes where she says, okay, I have sold all the cows. I just want this knowledge. And then she too is free. She too is very, very free. And so, like this, Natasya Kule, Kula means family, Athava, or it could mean Gurukula also. In the extended family of students, etc., or if the Guru is a Grahastha in the birth family, whatever it is, they will in the biological family or in the Guru family, there will not be anybody who is ignorant of the self. This is how it is expressed in the Mundaka Upanishad. And the same idea here, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. And then elsewhere in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Veda means knows. So in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also it is said, Yastu Matraman Pitraman Acharyavan. So meaning the Mata and the Pita, the one who has mother and father, means there is good home training. Meaning they will say, the parents will teach you, you have to share, you have to give, you have to wait your turn, and then all that. With that foundation, then you become Acharyavan. You then you take recourse to an Acharya, the teacher, not to be confused with Achara, conduct. Okay, and so you take recourse to an Acharya, and then what happens? You are freed. How? Just like the person in Gandharva, this Gandhara Pradesha. Gandharva, Gandhara, there is a little word play. We'll be seeing that also. In this Gandhara Pradesha, this is there, just like this, the businessman was freed. How was the businessman freed? The businessman was freed because of Shraddha, you know. So when the cool hand came upon his brow, he probably first said, I have nothing more to give. Go away. You have stolen everything. But then he immediately recognized, wait, this person is saying soothing words. That other person was making fun of me. The other people were making fun of me and yelling and screaming. This person is saying very soothing, wonderful Mahavakyas are coming into the ears. And so there is a difference. And so the person give, because there is no choice. So, in samsara, when one sees that there are no options, then Shraddha naturally comes. Shraddha comes, Bhakti comes, Vairagya comes, Viveka comes, because there is no option anymore. How long are you going to struggle? How long are you going to turn this way and that way and scream, Badhoham, I'm bound, free me, help me. How long are you going to scream? And here there is help. So if the person had no Shraddha, then the person would have said, off with you, I don't like you. I want another savior to come. What other savior will be there? Swing low, sweet chariot. That's all. Okay. So this is all that is remaining, because the person is left to die there. So here the drastic nature of the situation is purposely given here, is made part of the context, so that we can appreciate what it takes to have Shraddha. And if you think, I have nothing in common with this successful businessman, nobody has taken my money and gone. I still have all my money. I have everybody around me. I'm not lost. I'm not disoriented. Then the Shruti says one has to think again. That means that the viciousness of this thing called samsara has not yet been recognized. So and so therefore what? as soon as the viciousness of this samsara, the constant disappointments, the constant losses, the constant difficulties in regaining what is lost and in retaining that which is gained, and all this, it's a very, very dire situation. Samsara is a dire situation, and this samsara, being in the forest, completely blinded, that is moha, blinded by all kinds of things, and then blinded by all kinds of whatever, this is what is the samsara. And so therefore we have to see the viciousness of this thing called samsara. The cycle of samsara is there, which has to be seen as a dire situation, as though one is lost in the forest, and divested of everything that one has. That is when the person, for such a person, shraddha will come effortlessly. And when shraddha comes effortlessly, the call for help is answered. The guru also comes effortlessly. That is the whole idea. And then what happens? Then the person is freed, and then the person just needs to be directed, because the person is already a medhavi, is already very clear about what they want. They want to go home to their own self. They want to go back to their self. And so then the person is very clear, the person is intelligent, the person is well read, and can ask for directions. And asking for directions is mananam and nididhyasanam, as the teaching will show. And Bhashyakara, if you just scroll, do something here. If you scroll the next page, you will see how much Bhashyakara has to say. Okay, so one whole page of Bhashya just for these two mantras awaits us. When? Tomorrow. Yeah, so we can leave it here. We'll start with these bhashyas tomorrow. Okay, some questions are also there. I think I will say the closing prayer and we can have some time for questions. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So let's see. Sound is low today. I think that can fix that. I'll fix that while you are here. So let's see if it works.
It was good, Swamiji.
How
How
is
many
it
days?
now? How is it now? How is it better now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. All right. So that is easy. Then we are able to realize the salt in the water through salt in the water you are able to realize through the tongue. Let's not mix up the metaphor and then what it is trying to show. Okay. So then what stays is moksha. No, that's not the idea. The idea is that the salt cannot be objectified through sight, and therefore you need another means of knowledge. So here moksha, similarly sat, cannot be identified through sight, etc. So what is needed is the teacher's teaching, which amplifies the message of the shruti. So shabda pramana is the upayantaram. It will all be made clear. Okay, it will all be made clear. Does the cognizer cognize the consciousness? Yes, but not as an object, as the very subject. That is what is called self-evident I. Yeah. Any other questions?
Swamiji, in the beginning, when Shrutam Bhavati, for Bhashya, for that he said, Anyat Vijnanena Anyat Vijnatakam Bhavati. Can I connect this to the Lavana example where we understand the salt being there by knowing through different means?
No. So I think that's slightly different what you're saying. I can look it up. Exactly, it is, I think, it comes much, much earlier. So, Sadeva Somya Idamagre Asi, the Ekameva Dvitiyam, and then I think it comes before that. It's
I
somewhere.
think he had given the example of going through the grama from one grama to another grama, seeing the pot maker making the pot, but by evening when he comes back, he see only.
Yeah. So, yeah, I look it up. Tomorrow I'll tell you what that means. So, because I'm not able to find that right away, that mantra right away, I'll look it up and we can address it tomorrow. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Oh,
May I ask another question, Swaminiji?
yeah.
Is it if the teacher shows up, is it the karma uh, of the disciple?
Yeah, it is good karma. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Partly that, yes. And some purushartha is there. You have obviously sought and everything. That is also there. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Swaminiji, may I ask another question?
Sure.
So this is partly related to what you said, but partly something else. So I have Shraddha to the teacher. Teacher says something, I listen to it, I try to implement it in life. But sooner or later, something else takes over and my original self comes back in, and
What
I
comes?
go back to my normal self. I don't follow what the teacher's teachings are. Does it mean my Shraddha is waning?
Yeah. That was easy. Yeah, that's what it means. It doesn't mean it's waning. It means that it has it's like a little puppy that is going for a walk. Okay, so you say heel, and then it has just come back from obedience school or whatever it is, and then not that Shraddha is equal to obedience. This is just a non sequitur example, and so it's just going. And then after a while, it just forgets whatever it has been, told, and then it wanders off, and then it has to be brought back. So here you are the walker, you are the walked. So you are the master, you are the puppy. So the puppy is the inner child, and you have to bring it back. Yato nischare, nischarati. This is what is, the Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter says, as the mind keeps wandering, please keep bringing it back. That's why satsang helps. That's why being around with other people having the same thing helps. Repeated listening helps. And here we see this. The abhyasa is a very important feature. This lavanam. How long? And this salt, and still we were confused. What is the meaning of this salt? What does it indicate? And so that is what helps to it's not gain of this knowledge is an as though gain, because it's more of a growing clarity rather than one aha moment. It cannot be an aha moment, because that moment would be an event that is happening to the self. The self is free of all events happening to it. That means the self wasn't free and now became free. That is an untenable proposition. And so therefore what? The self was already free, and so the self is the canvas upon which all events take place. So enlightenment, so if we can use that word, cannot be an event that happens to the self. It's more of a growing clarity, like the eclipse leaving, like the fog dispersing. As the fog disperses, you see more and more and more sun. That's what it is. You see more clearly. And then if we think we have clarity now, then wait 6 months later. Then you say, aha, now I know.